After 6 games on the NES and 4 on the Game Boy, the Mega Man series finally made the jump from 8-bit to 16-bit. Mega Man X had arrived.
The story is set about 100 years into the future and focuses on a new robot who bears the name of Mega Man X.
The game takes everything that was great about classic Mega Man and made it even better. More versatile special weapons, HP upgrades, refillable sub-tanks to restore your HP, armor upgrades, the ability to charge special weapons for some devastating results. Another neat thing is that not every boss is named man or woman, but instead the Maverick bosses are primarily animal-themed.
The plot of the first game focuses on X's mission to stop Sigma, a renegade robot, or Maverick, from destroying humanity with his best friend Zero.
While most of classic Mega Man didn't focus a lot on the story, we're given a clear goal with X. We as a player don't just want to beat the game, we want to see X grow stronger and be able to save the world.
The first level has a rigged boss fight, but if it's your first time playing, you don't know if it's rigged or not. And after being defeated but then rescued by Zero, we're given a pep talk telling us that we'll eventually be able to be as strong as Zero is.
So this gives X kind of a Luke Skywalker vibe to him. He's one of the last Maverick Hunters left standing who can stop Sigma, and Zero's gonna help us reach that potential.
Oh. Well, neat thing, before passing on, if you haven't already picked up your Buster upgrade, Zero actually gives you his Buster for the fight with Sigma.
A boss with a T-shaped visor, the mentor gives us a more powerful weapon and sacrifices himself for us, and the final boss has a lightsaber. Yeah, this is Mega Man Star Wars.
As we said earlier, in addition to the story now having deeper meaning, the gameplay mechanics have also been improved. Instead of just being single-screen rooms, the screens flow more fluidly, most of the time. And the special weapons can be used in multiple ways and for unexpected effects, and the ability to wall jump and dash make you feel more in control of the Maverick Hunter you're playing. Better controls and deeper story makes you want to be more invested in the character.
And as if the music from Mega Man Classic wasn't awesome enough, X takes it up to a whole nother level.
One of the coolest things about the X series is the hidden secret weapon in most of the games, whether it be a super powerful attack like the Hadoken or a hidden armor that just wrecks everything around it.
Mega Man X 2 and 3 will continue to add new innovations such as new ways to incorporate special weapons into level exploration, new mid-game bosses that would add to the story, and sometimes change the outcome of the game. In X3, Zero's playable for the first time, but he can't fight bosses or mini-bosses.
And then Mega Man X4 was released.
What am I fighting for?
Yeah, that.
Zero's edgy anime boy screaming aside, X4...
Stop that!
X4 is considered by many to be the best in the X series, if not the best Mega Man game on the whole. The story is much more involved this time, and let's be honest here, this game was made for Zero.
While X is playable, Zero's story mode seems much more invested in the conflict due to his friendship with Iris, the sister of Repliforce's Colonel.
The story is amazing, and the anime cutscenes give us a look into Zero's past, depicting his first battle with Sigma, which reveals why Sigma went Maverick to begin with.
With the exception of the original Mega Man X, X4... Anyways, X4 is undoubtedly the most influential X game. Whenever Zero makes an appearance in a crossover game, he almost always has his X4 moveset.
And there have been a lot of games that have done that with Zero. Marvel vs. Capcom and Project Cross Zone, just to name a few. As for X, this is the game where his trademark Ultimate Armor first made its appearance, and it's often featured alongside him in other media as well.
Now, moving on to X5, the conclusion of the Mega Man X series.
Conclusion, but there are 4 more games after this one, chronologically speaking.
Yes, but Inafune intended for Mega Man X5 to be the finale, you know, the end of the saga,
yeah,
and then have that lead into the Mega Man Zero series.
Oh, Capcom.
X5 definitely feels like it was trying to be the finale. They pulled out all the stops for this one, bringing back some old enemies from the past, such as Shadow Devil, a throwback to Yellow Devil, and a revived Ranga Banga. You know, that face boss from X1, the one that's insanely difficult? Yeah, him. He's back.
On top of that, they also brought back the insta-death lasers from Quickman stage, and the Darkhold special weapon is a throwback to Flashman's Time Stopper, both of which are from Mega Man 2, of course.
And the icing on the cake, the 3 different alternate endings. X gets a total of 5 different forms, and X is a fightable boss.
Late in the game, the 2 playable characters have to fight each other, and if you're playing as Zero, your opponent is Ultimate Armor X, with his weapons from X4.
The story is that Sigma hijacked a space colony and infected it with the Sigma virus and is about to drop it onto Earth. Your goal is to stop the colony by either destroying it with a giant laser cannon or crashing a shuttle into it. How you go about these events determines the outcome of the game.
If the mission fails, then the virus that's latent within Zero will awaken, and he'll turn evil, thus leading to the bad ending of the game.
Another fun fact about this game. The names of the Maverick bosses in the English localization were named after the band Guns N' Roses.
Grizzly Slash, Duff McWhalen, Axl the Red.
Izzy Glow, Dark Dizzy, Squid Adler, Matt Rex, likely a reference to Matt Sorum.
The only one who doesn't seem to be named after them is the Skiver, whose name was Spiral Pegasian in the Japanese version.
Reportedly, Skiver was named for Michael High in the Sky Monroe.
Oh. Well, even if the name doesn't sound like it, the whole Air Force theme definitely fits with High in the Sky, since the fight is on a flying airship.
The good ending concludes with the final battle against Sigma, who claims to be using his most powerful body ever, and that there will not be a stronger one afterwards. He's finished off by Zero, however, Zero succumbs to his injuries, and X is heavily damaged.
X is rescued by Dr. Light and is revived. 3 years later, we find X charging into battle, carrying the Z-Saber with him, promising to fight for everlasting peace in Zero's memory.
That would have been a good place to end off the X series at, and, to go on into the Zero arc.
But instead, we got X6.
We don't talk about that one. Instead, let's talk about this series of Game Boy games.
I've been waiting for this one. Mega Man Xtreme 1 and Xtreme 2. While neither of these games have graphics worth writing home about, the gameplay and faithfulness of level recreation is very nice. Since they were downscaling a 16-bit game to the Game Boy Color, the graphics aren't as close to the original as the classic Mega Man Game Boy games were by comparison, but these games offer some new bosses and some new additions to the story. Essentially, they're a mishmash of the first 3 X games with some new characters thrown in as fortress bosses, and also, Xtreme 2 has one of the best features ever.
And not only can you play as Zero, but when playing in Extreme mode, or after you reach the final stages in either character's story mode, you can switch between characters in the middle of a mission.
This character switch ability will return in X7 and 8. However, you don't play as...
Hey, wait. I know y'all don't like X6, but y'all can't just skip it.
Why not? It's that bad.
Yeah.
Then y'all should at least tell them why it's bad.
Fine. Well, if you must know. X6 is not only unauthorized, but it has many of the tropes of your typical bad game.
Poor level design that can lead to many cheap deaths, inconsistent difficulty curve, and a story that's totally irrelevant to the rest of the series. Literally! You could skip over X6 and not miss a thing, even in the sequels!
Okay, that's not entirely true. They do give us 2 things that are story relevant. Zero's still alive, and it confirms that Xtreme 2 is canon by mentioning the Solar Erasure incident, but why does it say 3 weeks later instead of 3 years later like the end of X5? Consistency? What's that? Yeah, Zero crawled away and repaired himself from the waist down with 1 arm in 3 weeks? I don't think so.
And you remember how the other games had hidden secrets to find? Yeah, in this game, some of them are a little too well hidden.
Take this armor capsule and shield Sheldon stage. What happens is, you drop down almost on top of a pit of spikes, and you have to go through a fake wall and then dash jump or Nova Strike over to the left to find this body capsule. Yeah, to the left, in the exact opposite direction of where you're supposed to be going, through a hidden wall.
We mentioned the enemy difficulty. Most of the bosses are laughably easy or ball-breakingly hard. There is no in-between.
Especially Gate and Hymax. These fights are just unfair, even if you have their weaknesses. Another thing, if you don't unlock Zero as soon as possible, he's going to be worthless throughout the rest of the game.
And, as if Capcom was trying to cover up the fact that this game was never meant to be, they try to fudge up the ending, saying that Sigma's mind is deteriorating and that he'll never be back to 100%. And in Zero's ending, he goes into a 100-year stasis, which would have him waking up when Mega Man Zero is supposed to take place.
But I guess that didn't work out because we still got Mega Man X7 and Zero's still here.
While X7's levels are more well-designed, this game has a ton of flaws too. The switching between 2D and 3D makes it a little disorienting, and the game is too damn hard in a lot of places. You don't even get to play as X until you're halfway through the game, too.
And as much as I like Axl,
Another Guns N' Roses reference, this time with the name spelled correctly.
this is a Mega Man game, and a Mega Man should be playable. At least it's fun to slash stuff up to Zero, and it does give us the coolest Sigma fight in the entire series. Ridiculously hard, but if you can tough it out, this game does have more to offer than X6, if you can look past the horrendous voice acting.
You're Zero, so you can handle this, right? I'm Axl. Call me if you need a hand.
They fixed a lot of the problems from X7 when they came out with X8. No more switching between 2D and 3D, just 2D for the most part.
This time, we meet several Reploids like Axel, who all have copy ability, which justifies the rematch with the Mavericks in the final stages. And we finally kill off Sigma once and for all.
The final boss in this game is Lumine, who uses Chaos Emeralds?
Sega, sue something.
X8 was better than X7 in my opinion, but it does have some very frustrating parts, like Gigavolt Mana Wars level.
Is it Gigavolt or Gigabolt?
Gigavolt Mana War. Gigavolt Mana War?
Both? Both.
Both is good. Regardless, X8 is definitely worth the playthrough.
And this brings us to perhaps our favorite post-X5 game, Command Mission.
Mega Man X Command Mission takes place after the events of X8, but how long is never exactly clarified. X has a new look, and the Maverick Hunters have a new team of operators. Their mission is to infiltrate the island known as Giga City and stop an uprising caused by a Reploid named Epsilon. And as stated before, Sigma is dead, so we get a new antagonist.
And this is also the only RPG game in the Mega Man X series, which could be why it's more enjoyable than the other post-X5 games.
Not to say that RPG games are necessarily more fun than platformers, but the level of enjoyability in this game is higher than the others by comparison. X 6 through 8 had so much frustration with the poor level design and weird difficulty curve, and this is a fresh take on the series. A new angle, it gives us some familiar faces and abilities, and makes for a new and rewarding experience.
And in addition to the 3 poster boys, we also get quite the colorful cast of other playable characters, such as Steel Massimo, Marino, Spider, and Cinnamon.
Command Mission is extremely fun, and there's not too much grinding that needs to be done. The leveling up is pretty consistent with the rest of the story. You'll always be at about the right level until you reach the post-game.
If there had to be any shortcomings I would give it, is that there's not that much to do post-game, especially for an RPG. Especially for those of the Mega Man franchise.
Yeah. But we'll have to discuss those at a later time. Up next is the second sequel series, Mega Man Zero.